welcome to April. So this is my fourth homemade gift for Katie for her calendar for next year. So I'm just mixing a little bit of orange Kaisercraft acrylic paint with my texture paste. Just squishing that around there, trying to really mix the colour in as well as I can. I'm making this super cute little peachy colour almost. So this layout is going to be a monochromatic orange layout, which is a really unusual scrapbook colour, I think, if I do say so myself. I did find that I really didn't have much supplies when it came to orange things, especially not much ephemera. But I dug around with what I had to use what I could to create this monochromatic layout. And it was very much inspired by Mari's layout from the design team of Lottie Loves Paper. Hers was a blue monochromatic layout using field notes, I think, from Chamel. I think that's what it was. But either way, I have definitely used that to inspire this layout today. So I've let that texture paste dry, and I was going to try and put on this watered down acrylic paint using a paintbrush, but that didn't really work. So I've just got an old makeup sponge and I'm just mixing the acrylic paint with water, really watering it down and not being too careful, just sort of plopping that down onto the page. I got a little bit messier than I had intended, and I sort of made a few splat marks that weren't actually going to be there. So I kind of embraced the splat marks and just splat a little bit more, but then I didn't love it. Didn't love the splatting, so I will cover some of those splats a little bit up when I start embellishing. I am just coming in now with some watercolor paint, just filling in some of the gaps. I don't need all the gaps filled in, but some of it is a little bit too patchy for my liking, and I found the watercolor. I really just wanted different tones. I wanted to be able to see some really dark orange. I wanted some really light orange. I wanted to see that texture paste popping through, but not, and just a little bit of everything happening everywhere. And I'm quite happy with how it turns out. These big splodges I like, I'm happy with those, but it's when it started to be a bit more flicky. I wish I hadn't have done that. But anyway, I did. Some of it looks okay. Some of it sort of didn't flick cleanly. It kind of splattered on an angle, and I don't really like that look. I like the look of the drops when they've dropped straight down overhead. But anywho, I've already done it. So I decided to turn it around a little bit so that I could cover some of the more messy sections, the bits where the spots were not very flat and straight, and just leave the more rounded splots there. I hope that makes sense. So I've already backed my photo. This one I just got a whole bunch of layers of my orange scrap, everything from my scrap tub, and just tore down one side. This one I've only backed in one single color of orange because I'm going to put that super cute orange frame around, and I'm also going to put those two little strips of paper as well. Now I cannot tell you what I am using here. It is definitely just random bits and pieces from my collection. There is some Kaisercraft, there is some crate paper, there are some die cuts, there is just a little bit of everything. So there's definitely no one collection. I just sorted all of my sort of random ephemera by color, and so all I did was pull out my orange color bin, my orange color pot, where I got this concept from RTS Scrapbooking, Janet over at RTS Scrapbooking, and I just pulled out the orange tub and just went through all of that. Once I'd gone through my orange tub and pulled out as many of the things that I could use for this layout, I still felt I was lacking a couple of things, and then I went specifically to collections that I thought might help. So I did specifically go to a Kaisercraft Fiesta collection, but those florals were just too big for what I wanted here, and I only ended up getting that zigzag orange piece of paper from there. And that special tag. And then I pulled out some of the boy collections. The Crepe Paper Cool Kid collection has a little bit that's sort of a reddy orange. And I was able to get the Hey Buddy and the So Handsome bit from there. And even just those three things really helped sort of lift the layout a little bit. So that was good. So I'm going to end up covering the Remember This part of the frame. It's totally fine. It could absolutely stay there, but I just didn't feel it was working for how I wanted this layout to look. So I end up layering a whole bunch of different things on top of that. And I really love the feel of all of those layers on top, on top, on top. I think that's really cute. Those round circular flowers, I've actually got those, or did have those in like every color. They are way back at the very start of our channel when Katie and I made each other homemade kits. I gave those to Katie as like a challenge item. And I still have them. So this is 3 or 4 years ago we made these challenge kits. So I am finally getting those onto a page. Then these little die cuts, they say Happy You, which both the boys in this picture are very happy. Oh, so why this? Why am I doing this for April? So one would think that I would have done an Easter layout for April, and I could have done that. But actually, April is a really big band competition for Katie and her partner. This year they went to New Zealand for it. But they often don't travel necessarily for it. They often stay in Australia but still have this big band competition. So for them, I thought that was a little bit more important than Easter. Lincoln doesn't eat chocolate anyway. Not yet, he's a baby. So I thought he might in 2020. We'll have to wait and see. I thought that celebrating the band competition would be better for this year's calendar. And it was a really big challenge for me to do this monochromatic orangeness. Not my usual cup of tea at all. And as I said, I don't love the splutters. I'm looking at those above the section where I'm working now that's sort of been cut off by my hand and by the camera frame. But I think in the end, the actual whole layout turns out okay. But I do think if I was going to do it again, I wouldn't splatter. So if you're going to do it, don't splatter. It just messes it up a little bit. These little hearts are Pink Fresh Studios, I want to say. That could be wrong. Did anyone catch it when I opened them? Obviously they came in a whole bunch of different colors, and so I'm just using the orange ones, and that's about it. So here are the close-ups. It looks pretty good in real life, I think. Very orange, but that's okay. She only has to look at it for a month. So I hope you have enjoyed this layout. I hope it inspires you to pull out your monochromatic one color and maybe challenge yourself. Do a color you don't usually do. That's what I did. See how you go. So thank you everyone, and I will see you next time for my May layout.